Hi, I'm Ray.
And I'm Saren.
We're your Spider Baby hosts from To Know Her Is to Fear Her, a Spider-Woman podcast, as well as proud members of the collective.
You're listening to Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks. Enjoy the show!
This episode of Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is Luca Perich, and you are listening to Capes and the Lunatic Sidekicks podcast.
What about our Quasar podcast, The Quantum Zone?
What about our Quasar podcast?
Wendell Vaughn, the first Earthman ever appointed Protector of the Universe. Bonded to the energy-transforming quantum bands that are both weapons and symbols of his station, he fights an ongoing battle to defend all life in the universe from cosmic evil as Quasar. Okay, why the hell did I play that? We're not even talking Quasar tonight. Anyway, welcome back to the Quantum Zone, episode 151. Stay tuned, kids. We're going to have a big talk about the future of this podcast coming up. But anyway, I am Phil. Joining me as always, Master of the Quantum Zone. It is.
I am Will.
And Master.
I'm wearing a headband. This week to get my hair out of my face.
All right, Master of the aerobics class. It is.
Yeah, here we go. This is Matt. Hi, everyone.
I was gonna make some kind of like Amish rapper joke, but yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to offend your neighbors, though.
Just because I live in Pennsylvania doesn't mean Amish live right next to me.
I know. How far away is Amish country from Pittsburgh?
I don't know.
No.
I'm not sure. So, what should we talk about, kids? We got the big announcement. We're recording this on the eve of the inauguration, so.
Wow.
Got that. Oh, hey, did you guys watch WandaVision? The first 2 episodes were out on Friday.
Yeah,
I watched the first one. I didn't get to watch the second one.
How can you stop at just one?
It was just a scheduled thing. I had a kind of a crazy busy week. That's why. But yeah, I watched the first one.
It's a crazy slow burn. I mean, I know they've got basically 4.5 hours. They're still setting up stuff and kind of really, really doing that slow reveal. I mean, we get some sinister things happening and, some breakthroughs. I love the animated opening to the second episode. You'll see that when you watch it. It's pretty awesome. Very, very bewitched.
Nice. I thought beat for beat, old classic sitcoms, and there's a lot of nods to Dick Van Dyke and, of course, Bewitched, and I love I Dream of Jeannie and things like that. Thought they nailed it.
And then there's, there's just not much to go on at this point. It looks like Sword is involved, and apparently that was, wait, you haven't seen that yet, so I won't mention that part.
The second part, yeah.
I just learned about an invasive alternative to the Heimlich maneuver in the first episode.
Oh yeah, just phase right through the chest, yeah.
If you can, why not, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it works.
Yeah. I like that they stuck with the small aspect ratio, for the first episode like that. Pretty cool.
I like that Dick Van Dyke, instead of tripping over the thing, he phases through it.
Yeah.
And then he's carrying her, he phases through the door and trips.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many theories what's going on. It's like, is she doing this? Does someone have him trapped? I saw Charlie Esser has a weird theory. He's like, what if this is taking place between Infinity War and Endgame, and what if they're in the Soul Stone? I'm like, nah, I don't think so.
But that's where they're hiding.
Yeah, but then who would be calling for, somebody who I think sounds like Hawkeye was like, Wanda, who did this to you?
Yeah.
Oh, I know who that is.
Who?
According to Easter eggs and everything, that's supposedly Jimmy Woo.
Oh, is it? I thought it sounded like Renner. Okay. Yeah, I knew. I was looking at the list. Yeah, I knew he was supposed to be in this, but I didn't think that was him.
Well, and I don't know. They we know it because who here has not read Vision and Scarlet Witch and both series and West Coast Avengers and the regular Avengers? Yes, but is Agnes Agatha Harkness? I mean, I think it seems obvious to us, but most people ain't us. So, it would not be obvious to somebody who hasn't read what we have read. So, I don't know.
And just people are like, is Mephisto involved? Is AIM involved? Because we see a beekeeper at the end of this episode too. Sorry, Kona. But I forget if maybe it's the second episode. One of the guys is named Herb. So it's like, is that high evolutionary? Okay, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that's good. But they also have some bova milk in one of the things. And, bova's the mutate that raised her and Pietro. So cow woman, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's some red herring because I think, was it the first episode? There was one scene they said, if you zoom in real close, the label on the wine bottle, I guess it's French, but if you translate
House of M.
House of M. So much stuff, yeah. They do their homework over there, unlike DC. I don't know. They've got 9 episodes. Friday was the first 2, so 7 more. I've heard some people watch it and they're just lost. They're like, oh, what am I supposed to think? What the heck is this? Yeah. No. So I feel like they're taking a chance. With that slow burn because what's it about at this point? I'm thinking maybe this week, either this week or next week, we're probably going to start getting answers. They're going to have to,
The beauty of it, though, is that they have any Marvel cinematic universe or cinematic and television universe wrapped around their finger. So they could slow burn us for 5 weeks and people would probably still watch and they're not going to give it up,
Well, and this is supposedly the kickoff for, Phase 4.
Yeah,
so,
and I thought they said it was going to connect really big to the next Doctor Strange movie, the Multiverse of Madness. So, are we going to get multiverse stuff in this?
Yeah,
could be. Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting.
Oh yeah.
The first 2 episodes were interesting. I can't remember. It was one of the writers I follow on Twitter. I think it's Kelly Sue DeConnick, who's a brilliant writer. Yeah. I think she said she was really, and I'm probably paraphrasing and messing this up, but she was just amazed at the discipline to not try to reveal too much too soon. Yeah. And I hadn't really considered it that way, so that has me kind of reconsidering my initial take. You don't want to spill everything, but they didn't really spill much of anything, and probably because they're conserving it for later reveals. I don't know. And is there a reason that they released the first 2 at once? Is it just a scheduling thing, or is it just those were like the black and white episodes, or thematically does it make sense to release the first two together? I don't know. I guess we'll find out and know everything in 7 weeks, right? Yeah, and they're not long. They're not long episodes. That first episode was 29 minutes. The other one was 36, and that includes those seems like extra long credits at the end and the commercials. Oh yeah, those were good. Get your Strucker watch.
Are you tired of burning your husband's toast?
Oh, the Storm toaster. Yeah. Oh, but then I saw people saying, is it like the animated credits? Is it at the beginning or the end? They thought they saw the Grim Reaper's helmet. I'm like, why would the Grim Reaper care about them? In the comics, it's all about his brother Simon Williams, and it's like, that's right. There's no Simon Williams in the MCU yet. Yeah, I mean, even he was supposed to have a cameo in Guardians, right? But that didn't happen. Well, I know they had posters, but I don't know if there was anything past that. Yeah, because I think it was Nathan Fillion was on the poster, Simon Williams. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, then they had those extra long credits. I was sitting there waiting. I was like, "Oh, is there going to be a scene at the end?" Yeah. Although there is that scene. There is that scene at the beginning of the credits where someone's watching them on a TV screen. Yep. Yeah. And are there Skrulls involved? Because there's going to be a secret invasion. Yeah. Was it a show coming up?
Oh yeah, that's right. There's lots of reveals around upcoming shows and everything. I mean, it's March for Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep.
And they're still considering doing Black Widow directly to.
They're talking. Well, I think they're talking about doing like Wonder Woman, like doing it same day in theaters and streaming. But yeah, I don't think they've ever come to a decision on that. But yeah, I read something today. I guess they were considering putting like an end credit scene on Endgame for WandaVision.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man, we would have had to wait a while for that to pay off because that was like like May 2019. I was like,
2 years later.
I'm just waiting for like some big plot twist where it's like, oh, Vision's not even there. It's just, it's all just her.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I was trying to think back to, so she destroyed Vision.
Well, remember, she destroyed Vision, and then Thanos
wound time back
so
up.
he could get the stone, and then he just like ripped that big chunk out of his head.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going to say. I was looking in the first episode. I was like, wait a second, is that a stone on his head, or is that just, did they replace it with something? Or
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. He might not have a body. They might be like stuck in a VR program or something.
Mm-hmm.
That was my whole thing. I said, I wonder if she went to somebody to like try to fix Vision and got stuck in there. Because that first episode, it didn't seem like, first two, it doesn't seem like they're getting tested. And even that first episode when he goes to work, it's like, oh, what's your computational speed? And, you're so...
Yeah. And what do we make? Nothing.
Right.
What do we do? Nothing.
And both episodes, it just seems like people are saying, it's for the children,
Yeah.
talking about children.
Oh, then, we go down the whole rabbit hole of the twins and Mephisto and
Yeah, that's why people are saying it's Mephisto.
Master Pandemonium
the devil's in the details.
Yeah. It's not the only place he's...
Yeah, so is it Mephisto? Is it, who knows?
Yeah, lots of unanswered questions at this point.
And the biggest one, remember, kids, breakfast for dinner, very European.
Okay.
Hello.
Sokovian.
I know, calling out
Sokovia.
Yeah. I was looking at the cast list the other night, and it's interesting. I mean, Darcy from Thor is going to be in it. Kat Dennings.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
And they have Monica Rambeau as well, right? She's,
Yeah, that was her in episode 2, even though she gave a different name. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I saw. Let me pull this back up. Yeah, Jimmy Woo's in it. Darcy. Oh yeah, in the credits it says there's the one guy's a tactical sword agent. So yeah, swords involved, definitely involved somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make sure I got this right. Wait, a long cast list. Yeah, there's sword agent. Yeah, I don't see it on this list. I swear on the one list I saw, I thought that at least for, I don't know if it was one episode or more, but I swear they had, what's his face down as Ultron.
Oh, James Spader.
Yeah, I thought, I'm trying to see. Yeah, the list I saw the other day, it looked like at least an episode. It said, that, as James Spader is the voice of Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's his face I don't know if he's going to be playing Quicksilver. Not the one that was in the MCU before, but the one from the X-Men movies. The one who played Quicksilver over there is supposed to be in this, too.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Are we going to get multiverse? She tries to bring back her brother, and it's the wrong brother.
Having the way they dealt with super speed in those X-Men movies was pretty amazing.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, like the Pentagon, and then what was it the next movie when the house is blown up? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that scene in the Pentagon is just funny. You see the Wolverine's claws coming out real slow. He's just running around.
Yeah.
Like guys punch themselves in the head and stuff. That would be what it's super speed would be like. Everyone thinks it'd be cool, but it'd probably be boring,
Everything's just frozen, yeah.
Well, like that first one, he's listening to the music on headphones, and I'm like, wait a minute, wouldn't the music be real slow?
He probably had it. He'd have to speed it up to however fast he was going.
I guess maybe for going under the speed of sound, because if he broke the sound barrier, he'd be creating sonic booms too, though.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Science. All right, before we get to Squadron Supreme, should we lay our big announcement on the kids?
Fire away.
All right, kids. Well, this episode we're talking Squadron Supreme, and then the whole series. Next week we're going to talk the retrospective for the second half of Quasar, because we're going to be switching it up with putting the Quantum Zone on indefinite hiatus. I don't know. I just thought of it. I was feeling kind of down because I was like, no matter what issues we do from here on out, it's going to be Wendell's not going to be the focus. It's always going to be him on a team or him guest starring in somebody's book, and it's going to be watered down. So I got inspiration from Mr. Will Allred. Starting, yes, not next week, but the week after, we're going to be starting a Green Lantern podcast. Get your cosmic fun just on the DC side. So yes, it's the social media is already up. Go join us on Facebook and Twitter. Sector 2814, the Green Lantern podcast.
I took a page out of Ray's book on the.
Oh yeah, I told Lilith I want to rename every show. It's like the Green Lantern podcast, the Spider-Man podcast. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I just think we'll get more bang for our buck out of Green Lantern. I know Will likes Green Lantern. I think it'll be interesting because Kona's not as familiar with Green Lantern, so I think it'll be interesting to get some fresh eyes on some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's, honestly, there are stories that I haven't read since they came out in, 1991, 92, or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we're going to start around 1990, kids. We're going to do, first episode, we're going to do, two different takes on Hal Jordan's origin. The original one from Showcase 22, and then the Emerald Dawn miniseries. Yeah, it's been years since I read that. I started reading Emerald Dawn today. And then episode 2, Emerald Dawn 2. Episode 3, action. I think we have like 30 some issues on there, but they're Action Comics Weekly, so there's a bunch of short stories and all that. So we're just gonna do the Green Lantern ones, kids.
Yeah, and those it was weird because the 60s Green Lantern series changed its name to Green Lantern Corps, at 200 or 201?
Yeah, 201 was the first one said Green
and
Lantern.
Then got canceled. I think it was 220. Is that right?
Something like it was 220 something. Yeah. No, because that's the thing. It was like Crisis, I think, was that. Was at the point between 200 and 201, yeah.
And, there was no Green Lantern title for a while. Until the relaunch of
I wasn't reading it at the time, but it was at least a year or two, wasn't it?
I think so. It was quite a while. And then I do remember loving,
because they did the action stories in Action Comics, and then
and then the relaunch book. The first 8 issues of that are really strong.
Episode 4, we're going to be doing Green Lantern 1 through 8. That's right, kids. We're going to be doing like arcs, so we can get through this like quicker and stuff, and get the Will's going to want to skip over Emerald Twilight as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So we'll do arcs. Some will be bigger than others, and then plus there's going to be multiple books at certain points. We're going to have to cover Green Lantern Mosaic.
Green Lantern Mosaic. Yep.
Yes.
And then
I was going to ask you, Will, because I know Matt hasn't probably read them. When we get to that point in the 90s, when we do like Mosaic and stuff, are we going to do Guy Gardner, Warrior?
We probably should, because at his core, he's always been a Green Lantern character.
At his core,
that wasn't even on purpose.
So
because he really has been.
Yes,
we'll have time to think about it, but I mean, maybe we'll do, when we get to that point, maybe we'll do whatever books we're at in a certain month. So if it was like a Green Lantern, a Mosaic, and Guy Gardner, maybe we'll just cover those 3 books that came out that month.
Yeah.
Either that or
that might be easy.
Either that or arcs. Yeah, we'll see, whatever.
Yeah. Because Guy Gardner's book lasted 20-something issues, I think. Warrior.
Oh no, I was looking at it today. I think it went past, because at a point he loses that yellow ring, and then he has some.
Then he has some weird DNA from some alien or something.
Hello. Yeah, because he looks like he has those weird tattoos or whatever on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I was looking at it today. Yeah, no, I know it definitely went past 20.
Well, there's a great scene in Rebirth, where
they get
they do it, and that's the way the Lanterns do it.
Gardner Warrior. Oh, DC Universe doesn't start till issue 9, but yeah. 44. Guy Gardner got 44 freaking issues. That's not even counting 2 annuals.
Yeah, then so once Emerald Twilight hits, there's Green Lantern. There's a crossover that happened. Oh yeah, kind of mid.
Cal's book. It was like issue 60, I think.
No, I mean in the hundreds. Like it was Adam Strange, Jade, and several other characters. Oh, what was the name of that crossover? I'll have to look it up, but it had some one shots, I think, along with it.
Oh yeah. Well, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But,
and then we're gonna get there's one crossover with Green Arrow. Connor Hawk.
Yeah, the Hard Traveling Heroes
Part 2. Yeah.
Part 2.
So every once in a while we'll get something, Green Lantern crossover or something else.
Yeah, it was once Emerald Twilight hit, there was not a lot of extra books. He was Kyle was in the JLA during Grant Morrison's reboot of the JLA.
Oh my God! If nothing else, we should maybe once we get to that point, maybe we should do just like an arc or two from Morrison's JLA. Rock of Ages.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But then once Rebirth happens,
yes,
we get the new Green Lantern series by Jeff Johns and what's the artist's name? He worked with Kurt Busiek on Aerosmith.
I don't know. Not me.
I should know it, but anyway.
But yeah,
awesome art.
I'm curious to see what Coda's going to think because we're going to start in the 90s where there's like a handful of Green Lanterns. They build back up to the Green Lantern Corps, and then how Jordan brings it all crashing down. Then there's only Cal Rayner for a couple of years.
About 10.
Yeah. Then around 2005, they build it back up. Yes.
Yeah, and then after Rebirth, and then we get kind of a slow build up to like the Sinestro Corps War
and the emotional spectrums. Yeah.
Yeah, and we get all of the corps at that point.
That's where
then we get a Green Lantern Corps book where Guy Gardner's kind of headlining with John Stewart and those guys. Once we get Blackest Night. Yeah. I mean, which is awesome. And then we get a Red Lantern book. We get the Corps book. Plus then we have what was Kyle's book? It wasn't White Lantern. It was
it was an Ion or whatever?
Oh, we had an Ion book, yeah. But then there was a book where he was teamed up with other members from each of the other corps.
Oh, yeah. Can't remember, but yeah. Oh, was it something Guardians? Was it New Guardians or something?
Yeah, New Guardians. That's what it was, I think, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, once...
Yeah, by the time we hit, like, the mid-2000s, 2010s, yeah, we're going to have, like, 2 or 3 books in a month to do, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Again. Okay, I was going to say, we're going to try to stick mostly to the Green Lantern books, but in the, was it late 80s, early 90s, what we got to cover, even if it's... we're going to do arcs, and every once in a while we might try to do something in between. We got to cover? One Punch. Batman just decks Guy Gardner.
Justice League. Because they reference that a lot.
It might be
all the time.
Might be a good build up to Green Lantern 25 when Hal and Guy Gardner just duke it out to see who's going to be Earth's Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a long time since I read those.
Yeah, because Guy's not too bad now, but back in like the 80s and 90s, he was like
pretty obnoxious. Yeah.
That bowl cut.
And he first appeared in Green Lantern number 59.
Oh yeah, because then
way back.
he was like the original replacement, and then what? Didn't he go into a coma?
Got brain damage or something? Yeah.
Yeah. Because wasn't it like it was a choice when Ab and Sur originally crashed? It was a choice between Hal and Guy, and Hal just happened to be closer.
Closer, I think so. Yeah, but their Emerald Dawn kind of reimagines some of that. Emerald Dawn 2 continues along that path. Plus, we get a new version of Hal's origin in the relaunch with Jeff Johns in 2005, I guess. So there's going to be reinterpretations of that that we see over and over again, I think, as the series progresses. And there's some good things that happened in the original series. At some point we'll have to talk about Hard Traveling Heroes, which I don't feel like has aged extremely well, but it was groundbreaking, in the 70s when it came out.
Yeah, like I said, we'll do that between some arcs somewhere, but even we might have to be a couple episodes because that is like a long run.
And then you've got Alan Moore and sometimes Dave Gibbon backup stories, your little 8-pagers that are, hugely important to the current Green Lantern mythos because, Jeff Johns built a lot, they talk about the Blackest Night, and they talk about the Ultimate Green Lantern, and because he's a Daxamite.
Oh, yeah.
Daxamites are cool.
They're like Kryptonians, but they don't like lead.
Exactly. They have the same power set as a Kryptonian, except they're they're deathly allergic to lead. So imagine
Superman, but you could take him out with a number 2 pencil.
Well, actually, that's so. I was talking to the boys, and we're in the car. I'm like, "Yeah, you guys have got you never heard of the Ultimate Green Lantern? Yeah, he's Daxamite. You're talking about all this, and he's a Green Lantern." And of course, my wife does not miss a single beat. She says, "Oh yeah." So you could take him out with a number 2 pencil. I went, okay. Because it's yellow and it's lead.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, didn't they do that joke on Big Bang Theory?
Bazinga.
But yeah,
there's lots of cool stuff.
Yeah, well, maybe we should save that Hard Traveling Heroes for like a big anniversary episode because I think that's one of Lilith's favorites too. So maybe we'll get Lilith on here for some Hard Traveling Heroes. Green
that's
Green Arrow.
Classic, very classic and groundbreaking for when it came out. But even the art is still it's Neil Adams. It's awesome, but I feel like comics have matured a lot in the intervening decades, and some of the plot and the dialogue don't necessarily hold up to modern readers. But we'll see it when we get there, right?
Definitely. So yes, 2 weeks we'll start the Green Lantern, the Showcase 22 and Emerald Dawn. All right, but should we get to Squadron Supreme?
Let's do it.
I've only been sitting here for a half hour. All right. All right, so how should we jump into this? I guess just like the big
well, the Squadron, first off, is basically the Justice League, right?
Well, yeah, the Squadron, Sinister was originally invented because they wanted a Justice League for the Avengers to fight.
Exactly. And then, because there was a Hyperion on the Avengers Earth, but he was a bad guy. But the Defenders, I believe, jumped over to a different Earth, and they had the Squadron Supreme there, which were the good guys. And they were completely classic JLA analogs. I mean, down to the member. And then, it must have been something in the air or the water or something, because as this was coming out around the same time, and Gruenwald was working on this at the same time that Moore and Gibbons were working on Watchmen. Similar themes, but much, much different execution, right? I mean, Gruenwald is telling a kind of a traditional superhero story with kind of a twist that, oh, hey, they're actually making changes to their world. This is, does absolute power corrupt absolutely? Blah, blah, he's kind of dealing with that. But, I mean, was I'm trying to remember, there wasn't a single artist across all 12 issues, was there?
I don't I know Paul Ryan was, the second, towards the end, but yeah, I don't think he started.
Yeah, didn't Bob Hall, I think, do some of the art too?
Yeah, I'm looking at the list on Marvel Unlimited. Yeah, Hall was there for, I think it looks like the first 5 issues, then I think Paul Ryan takes over with 6. Oh, wait, Higgins was there for 7 and Buscema.
Oh.
Then Hall's back with 8, 9 with 9, 10, 11, 12 with Paul Ryan. So yeah. So Bob Hall was about the first 5, then they kind of played back and forth with some in the middle, and then Paul Ryan finished it off. But yeah, do you think this doesn't get as much attention as Watchmen because it's not as, sexy or, it's not it's not the all ages thing. It's still like a code
It's more traditional superhero type story.
Yeah.
And I think Gruenwald really tried to limit himself to kind of those guardrails. He put those guardrails up, and I'm going to stick inside this and tell the story that he wanted to tell. Moore and Gibbons, there were no guardrails. They did. I mean, it was a dissection of superheroes. It deconstructed them until does anybody you come out of it pretty depressed because like, is anybody really heroic? But Gruenwald, he didn't really go into that level of depth. I don't think he was out to deconstruct superheroes. He was out to see in a kind of a Marvel way what the impact of superheroes might be on a world.
And why can't they just go around and like change the world? Yeah.
Fix things, yeah. And plus I think he was playing a little bit with that, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. You can go into it because a lot of it's about good intentions. They change people's minds.
Oh yeah, the behavior modification.
Literally.
They make you stop biting your fingernails.
Exactly. I think Gruenwald was more interested in, where do you draw the line? And if you look at Watchmen, there is no line. You do what you can do. But
here, I mean, I found it's a couple paragraphs, but it's a summary of the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
It's Earth 712. They said I didn't know this. It said it picks up. I guess they were last seen in Defenders 114. The squadron led by Hyperion believe they have the knowledge and power to recreate the world and create a utopia. Nighthawk protests, believing that the squadron should serve and not rule. The issue is put to a vote with the so-called Utopia program favored by the majority of the squadron. Nighthawk, unable to agree with the decision in clear conscience, resigns from the team. The squadron assumes overall control of the government of the United States and remakes the nation into a virtual utopia. The team implement a series of sweeping changes, including revealing their secret identities, instituting a program of behavior modification in prisons, where inmates are forced to submit to a process that mentally inhibits their criminal instincts, enforcing a strict gun control policy, and developing medical technology to cryogenically preserve the dead. And then it gets in the whole Golden Archer thing, how he brainwashes his girlfriend into loving him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you mean he brainwashes his almost fiancée?
Yes.
Yeah.
and the whole thing with Nuke going crazy. Nuke was Firestorm, right, Will? Or was he Captain Atom?
I would say probably Firestorm because they're going for the classic 70s probably. And
he's
remember
younger,
yeah, the reason they took over because I think in the Defenders books, Null the Living Darkness had taken over their world and pretty much, ruined it. He'd taken over the.
Well, at the beginning of this issue, didn't they say the Overmind? Was it the Overmind?
Or was it Overmind? That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Who we see later in Journey.
Yeah. It's true. I don't know. He makes. Well, I mean, he does what Moore and what Moore does is he makes the heroes less heroic.
Yeah.
But it comes off, I think, a little bit strange because of the limitations he put on himself in the story, right? This is a Marvel book, right? And I don't mean that to denigrate it. I mean, this was an 80s Marvel book, so it has a certain tone and feel to it that, he didn't really try to change. It's drawn by some traditional superhero artists, Bob Hall, Paul Ryan, those guys. It's just a kind of a traditional superhero book that's asking some questions, maybe kind of some broader questions than the very different questions that Moore is asking in Watchmen.
Yeah. And then I know you did. Matt, did you ever read the follow-up to this? What is it, the Squadron Supreme Death of a Universe?
No, I have not.
Because it kind of, it's when they get shunted into the, Quasar 13.
Exactly, yeah.
With this big cosmic figure is like destroying the universe, and they go out and talk to it. It turns out to be what was that name? What was that guy from the Project Pegasus?
Nth Man, right?
Yeah. Remember when Thing and Quasar shunted that guy out of the universe? Well, they popped him into the Squadron Supreme universe. Well, what they say, he destroyed a couple universes.
I think so, yeah. And then the son.
Oh yeah.
Arcana or whatever her name is
takes
this week.
Takes his place to save the universe, and then that villain becomes there,
and then goes back and repairs all the damage that he did, and they can't get back to their universe until he's finished repairing all the stuff that the bad guy did. Yeah,
but I hate how the bad guy becomes their new Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah,
it's like between Project Pegasus and this, he never gets punished. It seems like he never gets punished for his stuff.
This ends. Well, Nighthawk actively working against the others.
Yeah.
He.
Well, even just the first issue, by the end of the first issue, he's like, he knows what's going to go down ain't going to be good. But he's like, he has that Argonite bullet. He's like, do I shoot this guy who's my friend? Can I shoot? Do I go down as the John Wilkes Booth and like save everyone the hassle? Or
well, and I think Gruenwald does something cool because he resigns because he won't compromise his ideals, but he does compromise his ideals because he works with and causes the deaths of a lot of people.
Wait, a president with morals? What?
I know, it's tomorrow.
Yes. Soon.
So soon. There's not a lot of, it's still very superhero-y, science fiction-y, not super grounded in the real, the gritty realism like, say, Watchmen is. Because a lot of these people, in Watchmen, there's one superhuman.
Yeah, Dr. Manhattan.
Maybe two, okay. But there's one for sure.
Yeah, but no one else has powers, yeah.
Well, Vite is, Ozymandias is...
he has an intellect. You could say maybe he's the smartest human being the human race ever produced, but is that a superpower?
He caught a bullet. Like in his hand, caught a bullet. So, I don't know. But, in the Squadron Supreme, all of these people have powers except for Archer dude, right?
Oh, Gordon Archer.
And Nighthawk.
Anytime.
His superpower is being rich and the president, right?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, there was a lot of eerie parallels to 2020, even just in like reading the setup, the first few issues of Squadron Supreme. They're not super precise, but there's themes and brainwashing and hysteria. People, substitute anger over food rationing to other things. And, very interesting. Very much worth picking up and flipping through it. It's a nice little trade.
Oh yeah, they've reprinted that so many times. It's on Marvel Unlimited. If you buy the trade, there's versions out there floating around with Gruenwald's actual ashes.
Yes.
First print, The first print has his ashes in it. Yeah. I've got it here somewhere.
Wow!
Damn it! When I bought my trade, I remember they had the whole thing in the in the introduction. I was like, "Oh, ashes!" And then at the bottom of the page it says, "This edition does not have ashes." I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah. Editor's note. Yeah.
Editor's note. Star.
Yeah.
This has no ashes.
I don't know. I feel like Gruenwald really tried to stretch beyond his capabilities in doing Squadron Supreme. Because I don't think it completely and totally succeeds. but I think it does succeed in a lot of ways.
Do you think the end product was what he originally envisioned at like issue 1, or did?
Well, I think so, but I think he kind of, based on the themes that he was going for, and I think his reach didn't quite make to where he wanted it to be, because there's.
Well, yeah, because it's like the first half, it's like they're dealing with like actual issues. Then the second half, maybe it's because they brainwash and bring in a bunch of their enemies, but the second half is just like, oh, we got to take down the squad. It's more like
we got to, and it becomes something different. He was dealing. They're dealing with these global issues.
Yeah, and it seemed like, I don't know if it was wandering or if he, but yeah, even the stuff with the second Hyperion and stuff, and
I'm not, and it's still an achievement. It's still good. I think if he would have given himself more freedom, he probably would have mined a lot of the same, things that Moore was mining in Watchmen, because Watchmen seems like a more purified form of what Gruenwald was, I think, trying to do, because it's, who watches the Watchmen, right?
But again, too, it's like,
who watches the Squadron?
Yeah, they didn't have before this, they didn't have their own monthly book, but the Squadron had been around. Moore basically just, he did the same thing, but he created characters that were like reflections of other characters. But when Moore started, these were all brand new characters. They had no history.
Exactly, and I don't know, the fact that Spider-Man or the Thing or Quasar or anybody could go to the Squadron universe because it's a comic book universe, versus initially, for the first 30 years, Watchmen was just this thing. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
It's like Superman was not going to go fight Dr. Manhattan, right? Yeah. Wait, they did that, yeah. So whatever. To me, Watchmen has a lot more, gravitas to it. But Squadron Supreme, is trying things using, Moore had carte blanche. He recreated these, he created the world, he created everything. Gruenwald was trying to make this fit in an established comic book universe. So, again, he had those guardrails up, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay, let me ask you guys. What do you think Gruenwald's best work is?
Good.
Well, his wife thinks it's this, based on the intro to the graphic novel.
Well, you have to think maybe he thought that too, because this is the one he chose his ashes to go into. So
that's true. And he was a huge Justice League, fan, and kind of aped it, but made it more real world and kind of dig deep into societal questions and things like that, while also being able to do something that we all know Gruenwald loves doing, which is digging up old characters and giving them something new. And so it very well could be. It's 12 issues. He didn't lose control of it, and it was big time building block. And he used the Squadron in other stuff that Quasar especially. So yeah, it could very well be this. I don't know.
I don't know if it's because I came to them first, but I always liked his Captain America and Quasar more than this. This is good, but I always like Captain America and Quasar better. But
yeah. But if there were over 100 issues of Squadron Supreme, maybe it's kind of a limited
60.
Yeah, right.
I still.
Okay.
I still feel like Gruenwald did his best work. He did really good work on the Squadron. He did really good work on Captain America. But I really feel like Quasar was kind of his magnum opus. What the story he wanted to tell.
So I was going to say with Squadron and Quasar, not a ton had been done with either one of those, but they had already existed before Gruenwald got a hold of them. Do you think? In my opinion, I think he did better with Quasar than Squadron Supreme. But do you think maybe that's just because the Squadron was so big, it was its own universe, there was a big group of them, and Quasar, he just got to focus on one person, and it came out a lot better?
I think it's, and maybe this is just me because hey, I'm weird. I know that, but when you get right down to it, the Squadron is the Justice League.
Oh yeah, and
fundamentally, I think at their cores, sorry, Green Lantern joke. The Marvel universe and the DC universe, and Kurt Busiek kind of gets into this a little bit in the Avengers JLA crossover, which is great.
Yeah.
They operate by different rules, and I don't just mean the rules of magic and the pseudoscience and all that stuff. I mean, they feel different because they're expressed differently, and it kind of becomes this. It kind of becomes just corporate comics if you want to get right down to it. Corporate superhero comics in the last couple of decades, but in the 70s and the 80s, Marvel and DC were very different, right? The books had a different feel to them. You could tell, as a reader, and I think part of that is that really with the Squadron, he's transplanting these DC archetypes into a Marvel style universe. And I feel like they fight each other some. Well, maybe that's just me being weird. I don't know.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Do you think maybe even on a subliminal level that a lot of people might not even realize that, you see stuff going on here and it's just like, if you see Hyperion and you're like, oh, wait, Superman wouldn't do that, or...
Yeah, that could be. That's because he's playing against type somewhat because, obviously he knows who these characters are supposed to be, right? But... And then he kind of undercuts it too.
Yeah, is it maybe because too? I don't know if it was conscious or not, but it's like, oh, these aren't the Justice League, so I can basically, they're disposable characters. I can kill who I want. I can have anyone go evil who I want. Is that the
idea? Yeah, he can do things that you don't often see done in a superhero comic that we're used to, especially by Mark Gruenwald.
Mm-hmm. And that's
a superhero giving their parents cancer. Just
not on
crazy.
Purpose.
I know, but like, but even like we don't really. Obviously, like later in more modern times, we see collateral damage caused from superheroes fighting, but this is caused by just living at home and being a loving son.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Very tragic. There's so much that's like unexpectedly kind of pulls you at you. Like, it gives it a real vibe to you. It really makes you think about other things going on in this alternate world.
Well, Conan made me think of something else too. Do you think maybe too that it's like maybe Gruenwald's strength wasn't writing characters who go dark or do morally questionable things? Look at the ones we like, Captain America and Quasar. Those are the Boy Scouts. Do you think he wrote? Maybe that was his strength, writing the Boy Scouts?
Well, but he also wrote the Red Skull. He wrote, John Walker. He wrote, like Flag Smasher. There were some...
But he also had an exact opposite,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe that... I don't know. It's...
Because Squadron Supreme, I don't think you had anyone who is completely, the Boy Scout, the completely, squeaky clean. It could have been Hyperion or somebody, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it's...
Because I think that, both sides were like, well, am I doing the right thing? Both sides were doing questionable stuff.
Yeah, and it just kind of... And then it basically devolved into a slugfest at some point, right?
Oh, at the end, yeah.
At the end. So, I think Moore makes a better point, with that, with the comedian, superheroes are fascists. They use violence to enforce their beliefs, and he expresses that very clearly in Watchmen, whereas I think Gruenwald's trying to go there, but he's kind of bumping up against those rails that he set up for himself, because this is it's a Marvel production in the Marvel universe using these Marvelized versions of DC characters. I don't know. I really think it deserves kind of some study, some compare and contrast just between the two works, because they're mining a lot of the same themes and ideas, but they express them so differently. So differently.
If only we could find someone to teach a class on this thing.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that.
Hey, I wonder, if you offered an online class or something, and offered, I don't know what a rate would be to sign up for. Well, could you do a 12-week class and do each week do an issue or something?
An issue. That.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to do an overview too, because the way Watchmen is structured is very different than the way that Squadron Supreme is structured. And actually, I'm glad you brought that. That's a good point, because I hadn't really considered that until now. But so if you look at Watchmen, you have a present issue, and then an issue that tells the character's history. Present history, present history, present history, present history. Squadron has a lot cleaner through line. Every issue advances the plots in Watchmen too, but maybe this is what I'm struggling to get. Marvel is a more soap opera type style, more melodramatic, right? Or at least back in the day when you were comparing Marvel and DC.
That's fair, yeah.
And Gruenwald kind of continued that with Squadron Supreme. More jettisoned all that stuff. This was this very bleak, very dystopian, world that had been impacted by the superhumans that had romped around in it, I guess.
So that could be the class too. If it's not just Squadron, do a Squadron Supreme versus Watchmen compare and contrast.
Mm-hmm.
They're both 12 issues.
Yep.
They're both around within a year or two of each other.
But there's something I really like that I think more wisely did, and then out on it too. They give a lot more color to the world of Watchmen, because you have excerpts from the book under the cowl, right? You get an article by Dan on owls.
You get a bunch of pirate jazz.
You get the pirate stuff, which is very beware in fighting monsters lest you become a monster yourself. I mean, yeah. Gruenwald is a really good storyteller, but I think Moore is on another level than pretty much everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's why Watchmen is the book that we still talk about so much, whereas Squadron Supreme is kind of an interesting footnote. But it's, hey, you're not as good as Alan Moore. That's an awesome compliment. Thank you, dude. If somebody would say that to me, yeah, okay.
Do you think maybe Squadron Supreme went a little long too? Maybe if he had tightened it up to 9 or 10 issues, maybe it would have been more cohesive?
Maybe, but
maybe pull out the evil Hyperion stuff, maybe something.
Yeah, but the fact that it ends kind of just in a giant, very deadly slugfest, and
with half the people dead. Yeah, spoilers.
Yeah, it kind of, hey, violence is not the answer, except we're going to be violent, and then there's not going to be an answer, and then because I guess I feel like it started out trying to use.
Or was that kind of a point too? It's you could say violence isn't the answer, but sometimes it just, whether it's the other side or whatever, sometimes it just devolves into that. Or
I mean, that's possible. If you're going to, I guess part of the problem is too, I mean, if you're going to tell a story like that, I feel like you have to be really focused, and all the characters have to kind of exist to exist for the purpose of that story. But all these other characters have different origins and different purposes for existing, right? So you kind of got this big conglomeration. So it's a little muddled, I think. What they did in Watchmen is, they're based on the Charlton characters, and all that, but they're completely retooled so that they're supporting exactly what they're doing in the book. Whereas, here's a bunch of characters, we're going to make them do these things, but, a Green Arrow existing in the same universe as a Superman, they're not, they don't carry the same metaphorical weight, and they don't carry the same metaphors even. It's this, one is not like the other, and yet they're both being kind of conscripted in service of this other, metaphor about what heroes can do or impact on the real world, or, are they all just violent thugs, or, who knows, right? I don't know. But it's fun to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and, what's his face? Power Prism, or, Dr. Spectrum, yeah.
Yeah.
You think he's a worthy Hal Jordan analog, or not?
I don't know. I feel like the further you get from the inspiration, the more different and strange they become, right?
And he wasn't, it wasn't part of a core or anything. And
yeah, I mean, the characters are there for similar power sets, not necessarily for similar, backstories and things like that. I really think that Squadron Supreme was a big chance, because, I mean, okay, forget about Watchmen. Nothing like this had ever been done. Yeah. Right? I mean, at that point, when it was coming out.
I mean, up until that point, had Marvel ever done anything like a 12-issue series set in this alternate universe?
I don't think so. I mean, they were given miniseries to, Wolverine and, Mutants, Iceman, and Nightcrawler, and, all these limited series, but they were like 4-issue series. Kitty Pryde and Wolverine was like 6, right? But this was a 12-issue series on characters that not many people knew. They knew who they were based on, but they didn't really know who they were.
Yeah,
so,
unless you did, you knew your Avengers history, or
yeah. So I think it was kind of a chance on Marvel's part, and Gruenwald did take some chances and tried some things with the series, but it does kind of feel like it changes direction, doesn't? I mean,
oh yeah.
So
I'd say probably about halfway, maybe when that Captain America fill-in or that tie-in issue comes. That's like pretty much the halfway point.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess it feels like it was. I don't know if it was Gruenwald fighting it, or the characters fighting, or just the themes, or something. It seems like it was kind of fighting itself in some places.
It would have been even more of a mess if they had done more tie-in issues, or made something made something a Secret Wars 2 tie-in and had the Beyonder show up or something.
Oh, we should have had the Beyonder show up. Yeah, he could have,
tracksuit Beyonder. Yeah,
he could have eaten a glass thing, and wow, that's pretty ridiculous. What was that, a Spider-Man issue? I guess.
Oh, that's Spider-Man stuff. Hey guys, Spider-Man taught me how to use the bathroom.
Exactly. Wait a minute, you have Well, no, I'm not even going to go there.
So what do you think, Matt?
No.
I mean, it's I don't know. It's certainly worth it. I wish I know that time constraints prevent us from digging deep into each issue by issue, but who knows? Maybe
maybe one day we'll swing back this way and do it issue by issue. Yeah.
But it's a hidden gem that gets overlooked a lot, especially if you're a member of the Gruenwald groupies and happen to not be flipping through spinner racks in 85 to 86. Or maybe you just heard of them from the recent appearances when they pop up, and you want to dig back to the somewhat origin, the sort of a rebirth, I guess, because it wasn't, like you said in the beginning, it wasn't the same as when we first saw them in the Avengers. They're sort of unformed. They were not yet fully formed characters to what we've got by this point.
Yeah, I didn't read this anywhere near when it was new. I mean, I don't know if I even knew about them until like Quasar, and that's when I think I picked up the trade, either when I was reading Quasar or not too long after Quasar.
Yeah, I think I picked up the trade. Well, yeah, because I don't think I ever bought the original issues. I picked up the trade, after Gruenwald's death, so that was back in '96.
Yeah.
And I think the trade came out in like '97 or '98, something like that. And then I remember reading it then, but I mean, let's look at the aesthetics of it too. Again, Watchmen is really grounded and dark and has a real sense of it. You still have, in this one you've got the bright colors, of a Marvel comic, right? All of these bright science fiction-y looking things that are going on, and then it has such a different feel, and I think we know what Gruenwald was trying, and I think he was successful for the most part. But I didn't buy this when it was coming out. I did, Squadron Supreme. Give me my X-Men.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really wasn't familiar with them until reading Quasar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And at that point, I think I was probably a subscriber to Avengers, and then would pick up, things like was Peter David on the Hulk yet? I don't think so. But yeah, Uncanny X-Men, West Coast Avengers, Vision and Scarlet Witch. There was a bunch. The Avengers kind of family of books at that time, and the Squadron just didn't really fit in any of those kind of silos, right? It wasn't a mutant book. It wasn't an Avengers book.
Yeah.
It had ties to the Defenders, but I didn't really get the Defenders. So yeah, it was not something that I was gonna just pick up off the stand.
Yeah, it's kind of before my time because I didn't start collecting full time until like '88. So yeah, it started with like Spider-Man and Hulk and stuff. I'm looking on eBay. I mean, you could some people are offering decent prices. I mean, you can get issue 1 for $5. Somebody had the first 6 issues for $5. But if you want to go for the collectors, someone slabbed in issue 1 and it's graded a 9.6, $89.99.
Wow.
I think you can probably, once once the outside world is allowed, once we're allowed back in the outside world and conventions happen, you could probably put together a run from $1 box, right, or a 50-cent box.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you don't want to press, a perfect 10 copy, yeah, I've seen these in $1 boxes. Hell, I'm sure if you stroll into your local comic shop in Boston, I'm sure the dollar bins they're probably in there somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Ray. Actually, do you want to hear some Ray feedback?
Sure.
Oh, sure.
I think he said he didn't get a chance to read the whole thing, but I know he did. He said he got to read some of it. So, all right. This feels weird. All right, everyone. So, for those of you who don't know, if this is your first episode, well, it's almost over. But yes, for those of you who don't know, our friend Ray from Australia, he does many podcasts of his own, including Well, speaking of Superman, last time's a Krypton, a Superman podcast. To know her is to fear her. You heard him at the beginning of this episode. A Spider. Heard him and Saren talking about a Spider-Woman podcast. You can hear him the last Tuesday of every month, talking Scarlet Spider with me and Matthew Kona. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the big one, Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. Coming soon to Disney+. Hopefully. All right, so here's what, like I said, he didn't finish it, but he sent his thoughts on, I don't know how far he got, but he'll probably tell us. All right, Ray, what did you think?
Hello, Phil, Will, and Matt. This is Ray.
All right.
Dropping in some partial feedback, I guess, for this penultimate episode, from what I understand, of the Quantum Zone. A very sad time coming up, as I've really enjoyed your guys' show. Looking forward to what lies ahead. Just wanted to leave feedback where I can. And, of course, this retrospective on the Squadron Supreme is an interesting one. Now, unfortunately, with my reread, I've only gotten up to the first 4 issues. But, funnily enough, things seemed very familiar. So I think I've read this like a long time ago, because there were events in it. Number 1, like Tom Thumb, he was very familiar to me. Number 2 was Nuke and him accidentally being killed by Spectrum, Dr. Spectrum. That really, so I felt I've read this before. And then to cap it all off, that bit with the, I can't remember what Tom Thumb called it, but where the Golden Archer used it to make Lady Luck fall in love with him. All that, I'm pretty sure I've read before. So I reckon I've read Squadron Supreme, but seriously, it's lost to me. So I'm enjoying this reread of it. But it is certainly bringing back some things. Overall, I can see why Gruenwald probably put this so close to his heart. It really does seem like a passion project. And you can just tell that there are loads of things that he wanted to write and put in it. And it certainly is a dense read, but it's really good stuff from Gruenwald. The obvious comparisons to the distinguished competition, it was so funny because, we joke about it and we say how it is literally, but I was just reminded of how literal it is, like Lady Luck as well. And knowing now a bit more about DC, these direct comparisons, so not only with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Green Lantern, they were pretty obvious, but the Golden Archer and Lady Luck now, it's like, oh my gosh. Having read Green Arrow from one of Lilith's top 4 books, and, the relationship he has with Black Canary, it's, oh my gosh, it's like Lady Luck and Golden Archer is so very, very obvious. Just a question, I'm not sure if it is something or it's something purely Gruenwald, but maybe you guys can answer. Tom Thumb, is he meant to be someone in particular? I can't really put my finger or my thumb, no pun intended, on it. But yeah, if he's someone from DC, I'd be pretty keen to know who. But everyone else seems pretty much accounted for. And I like, at the very first issue, I loved how they unmasked themselves. And from then on, they become like unmasked. Interesting, like I'm going to go all the way back to issue 1. Interesting though, Hyperion being a Superman pastiche, it is interesting that he's not as powerful, it seems, still as Superman. I mean, he struggles with that 300-odd ton vessel, which was theirs, careening back into Earth. And he's on point as well, like he says himself, I think. So he must have 100-ton or Class 100 strength, but he says, "Ooh, this feels like about 3 times as much as I can handle." So he's got a good gauge on what he can and can't lift. I think over time, he's he's become a lot more powerful than he seems, at least from this first issue. What I do love, and I'm hoping it's just going to continue through, is how flawed, I guess, they all are essentially. And there are things such as even the thing Dr. Spectrum, when he fights and accidentally kills Nuke, thinking, oh gosh, should I just dump the body, or should I just, pretend something else happened? At the end, he doesn't. He brings it back and he tells everyone. But you can see that all these people, they aren't picture perfect. And of course, Golden Archer, what he does with Lady Lark is highly controversial. Oh, not even controversial. It's highly unacceptable. Very much akin to... it reminded me of, there's a Valiant comic, Harbingers, where Peter Stanchek, he uses his mind control powers to make someone fall in love with him and him to sleep with her. So it's very kind of awkward stuff, and to see Lady Lark under that spell is very uncomfortable too. Anyway, I'll just leave it at that. I'm going to listen to the show. I'm going to read the rest of the 8 issues first before I probably listen, because I just want to get a full sense of it all. But I'm sure it's going to be a great show. Thanks so much, guys, for doing all that you've done for Quasar, and at least give it a chance to talk about Squadron Supreme. And I'm looking forward to the last episode as well, with the wrap-up to the Quasar retrospective. Anyway, catch you later.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. I think Tom Thumb was kind of supposed to be sort of analogous to the Atom, not the same power set, but
that's
kind
what
of
I was thinking, yeah. But because that was kind of weird. I mean, we didn't have any size changers, did we?
No.
No.
And he brought up the the relationship between Golden Archer and Lady Lark, which is of course Black Canary and Green Arrow in DC.
Yes.
But Gruenwald also did the same thing with Hawkeye and Mockingbird. Okay.
They got married like 5 minutes after they met.
Yeah. That Hawkeye limited series was actually written and drawn by Gruenwald, I think, wasn't it?
I know it was written by. Yeah. Well, check this out.
But that's one of those. He did love his DC. He definitely did. I think I remember reading somewhere that the ultimate DC fanboy is like Mark Waid. He knew everything there is to know. All the different Legion planets, the different types of kryptonite, and then their effects and where they first appeared, and all that fun stuff. And only one person ever out-trivia'd him on DC stuff, and that was Gruenwald. So I don't know if that's apocryphal or if it's actually true, but I'm relating it regardless.
Yeah, that's what I always heard, that the two of them were like the biggest. They knew like everything about Marvel and DC.
Mm-hmm.
The marks. I was trying to see here about this Hawkeye thing.
Wow. We're coming up on the 25th anniversary of his death. Is that right?
When was it? What was it? 90.
It was 96, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, if it was 96, yeah, that'd be the 25th.
August 12th of 96.
Oh.
Wow, he was only 43.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a special somewhere on that. I mean,
damn, yeah.
25th. But hey, we're still talking about his work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see, writer.
All right, so should we think about starting to wrap this up?
Let's wrap that up.
Let's wrap it up.
All right, everyone. So yes, you can still send your thoughts on Squadron Supreme. Next week we'll be doing the retrospective on the Quasars 26 through 60. So send your thoughts on that. And hey, any thoughts on the last episode of the Quantum Zone? Well, at least for now. So yeah, send your thoughts, anything, and remember, start sending your feedback in for Green Lantern. Email us capesandlunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, The Quantum Zone social media will still be there. Facebook, Twitter, the Gruenwald Groupies Facebook group will still be there. But you can also follow our upcoming Sector 2814 on Facebook, Twitter. There's also a Green Lantern group, the Book of Oa. So go join us over there. Hey, learn about your Green Lanterns from us, kids, because that series is coming. The HBO Max. So I'll have to add that to the list. Yes, so find links to all of that, links to this YouTube, links to the merch, links to the Patreon, all in one place. That's Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics. And please support our sponsors, Tweaked Audio and Hunt a Killer. Use the code Southgate for both of those for discounts. Pick up Pod Life, the book, now in digital and paperback. And you can get that on Amazon. And when you do, use the link for Southgate Media Group right down there in the show notes. Help us support this show, the network, and that other dimensional dude, Rob, Master Doom Southgate.
Make it rain, so says Master Doom. Please kick me in the pants. Why did your eye drift over to my box?
All right, Matt Kona, where can people find you?
You can find me at Matt Kona. I might not respond to you. I'll be too busy reading Green Lantern, so I don't seem like too much of a fish out of water. But hey, you could recommend some of your favorite arcs, or if I should watch the movie, then let me know.
Well, I need this for drops.
Have you watched the movie before?
I know. I didn't see it.
I don't know if I should recommend. I don't know if we should recommend that, Will.
The boys and I were so pumped to get a Green Lantern movie because we are Green Lantern fans, and
Hot Wheels track, Will. Hot Wheels track.
Yeah.
We might have to do a Mystery Science Theater 3000 on that for one episode.
Now, the Green Lantern animated series, the CGI one that was on Cartoon Network, that was actually really good.
And then the DC put out like 2 animated movie things, didn't it?
Oh yeah. Hey. DC New Frontier is a Green Lantern origin story, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah,
we might have to hit that up. Yeah. All right. So while Matt's reading Green Lantern, Will all read Master of the Quantum Zone, and I'm going to think of a new nickname. Where can people find you?
You can find me at Wallred. That's at WALLRED at Gmail and Twitter and Facebook and all those places. You can also find my self-published work, Diary of Night, at diaryofnight.com. And currently, we're getting ready to start fulfillment on Crossover Division with Crossover Division number 1, which was just on Kickstarter. And there's always all kinds of cool stuff about Quasar, which I'm going to have to totally rethink that for the new show. But there's all kinds of cool stuff about Quasar at the Quantum Zone, which is quantumzone.org.
I'll put it in my navel.
I am God.
We have to start a second website.
Yeah.
I don't think Green Lantern is going to be as kind on the drops, right? I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I would just be like, hey, can you read that one line out of that issue?
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us again. Next week, come back for the last episode of the Quantum Zone. And of course, I wouldn't be starting in this new thing, or all had to be approved by these gentlemen. I will not do anything. Do it without them.
Well, it has been fun, and I'm looking forward to keeping on.
Like I said, I'm very curious to see what Kona thinks with fresh eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially some of that 90s stuff.
First comic I remember buying was Green Lantern.
Ooh.
Off the stands. We can talk about that next time.
Oh yeah, for 2 weeks. Yeah, it was the first episode. Yeah. All right. Coming back. I'm gonna come back next time. Keep coming back for Green Lantern after that. And remember, Quantum Zoners, keep it supreme.